Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. CalHope can help. Access CalHope's free and secure mental health resources. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org.
Ahoy! And welcome to the Boating Hour with Captain Rick. The Boating Hour brings you the latest and greatest essential information about everything that sails, floats, or motors upon the high seas of Southern California. From landlubbers to old salts, there'll be something for everyone. So climb aboard and get ready to sail with Captain Rick.
Ahoy out there and welcome to the Boating Hour. I'm Captain Rick, and I want to thank you for joining us here on AM 870. We're here every Saturday at 4 p.m. in the afternoon, and please be sure to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com, and also now on Instagram and Facebook, The Boating Hour with Captain Rick. Thanks to our sponsor for our show today. For a healthy gut, the best probiotic on the market, Livia One Probiotics, natural, organic, and allergen-free. Well, these past couple of weekends is what we call opening day at all the marinas all over the place. But this last weekend, I was very fortunate to be at Del Rey, the iconic Del Rey Yacht Club in Marina Del Rey, and I bumped into Junior Staff Commodore now, Michael. Thanks for joining, Captain Rick.
Hello, Rick. Thanks again for having me on your show today.
It's pretty exciting. So this year you are now Junior Staff Commodore, so that means you just fulfilled your duties as Commodore. Explain to the audience, what does it mean to be on the bridge and to be a Commodore and now a Junior Staff Commodore and at one of the iconic yacht clubs probably in the country?
Thanks, Rick. It's a good question. The leadership team that runs Del Rey Yacht Club is made up of a board of directors and a bridge. The bridge, our officers include the rear commodore, vice commodore, commodore, and junior staff commodore, as well as other officers, fleet captains, treasurer, secretary, so forth. We all sit on the board of directors, and the board of directors sets policy for the yacht club, and the bridge carries out those policies and operations of the yacht club. So there's a clear distinction between the two. As junior staff commodore, my role now is to serve as sort of chairman of the board. The Commodore serves as chief executive officer. The two other vice commodores, the vice commodore and the rear commodore, serve as chief operating officers, if you will. And our role is to work together as a team and to carry out the policies of the board of directors. I should say that Del Rey Yacht Club is unique in that it is a member-owned club. It is a not-for-profit club, unlike other yacht clubs in Marina Del Rey. We have been just celebrating our 70th anniversary in 2022. That was the year I was Commodore, so I had the privilege of being Commodore during the 70th anniversary of Del Rey Yacht Club, which was founded in 1952.
Boy, that's an amazing history, and it is one of the iconic yacht clubs. It's absolutely a gorgeous club. I've talked about a lot of different clubs, some small, some medium, and some large. And I've never had anyone explain what the bridge and the board actually, what their function are, as well as you just did. That's fantastic. But you also have all kinds of other stuff, because I know that whenever I'm there, the auxiliary women come up to me and say, take out your wallet, and they sell me a nice T-shirt. I have all kinds of great Del Rey T-shirts. I love the auxiliary women. They come in and they have this great stuff. So you have all kinds of different groups, including a very powerful juniors program where you've got some graduates of your program that have gone on to college that are sailors out there in the harbor. Let's give a little mention about, first of all, what's the website? What's Del Rey's website?
So Del Rey's website is www.dryc.org.
Okay, that's easy to remember for Delray Yacht Club, dryc.org.
Easy to Google as well.
Okay, that's excellent. So let's talk about Virginia, the amazing job she does with the juniors. Let's talk a little bit about the juniors program and plug them. And one of the things mentioned that you don't even have to be a member to get your kid involved in the juniors program.
Well, that's right, Rick. The junior program, which I went through, by the way, I'm a second-generation member of Delray Yacht Club. My mother and father joined Delray Yacht Club in 1965 or thereabouts. So I've been part of Delray Yacht Club since I was about 10 years old, and grew up there and grew up through the junior program. The junior program that Virginia Howard has developed over the past 20, 25 years is very well regarded. It is open, as you say, to the community. You don't have to be a member. We even have scholarships for deserving youth who are interested in the program. The program runs throughout the year, but primarily through the summer. And it is a program to teach youngsters how to sail. They start with opties, the 8-foot opties, and they get to sail bigger boats. We have J-22s, we have lasers, we have FJs. We have a whole host of sailboats for the kids to learn to sail and to become very proficient sailors, in fact. And as you say, we've also seen many of our junior members go on to become intermediate members and ultimately flag members, and become very active in the sailing community.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few, and it's nice now that some of the youngsters that I remember when they were so young, in their preteens and not even teenagers, are now adults in their 20s and 30s, and they're teaching. And I notice a lot of the coaches. The coaches are teenagers themselves, so very accomplished sailors. So it's really a wonderful program, and I love seeing them out there. I was a kid as well. I had a Sabbath, and I learned to sail out there. I think I got into a lot of trouble when I was down in Marina. I was a wild goof-off kid along with the rest of the scouts. Do they still have any scouts that meet there? Because my scouting program, we would meet at Delray once in a while when I was a young kid.
We do not have the Boy Scouts or Cub Scouts meeting. We do have other groups meeting at Delray Yacht Club, and I can come back to that in a minute. But I want to make a point about the junior sailors. It's notable that our junior sailing kids have formed a team, and they were on the Lipton Cup. The Lipton Cup is a prestigious regatta held at the San Diego Yacht Club annually, and they sailed J105s, and Delray Yacht Club was invited to participate in the Lipton Cup. It's one of our first efforts and opportunities to be invited, and our team, made up of the junior kids, who are now adults, by the way, were amongst the 12 boats that participated in the Lipton Cup just in the fall, last October.
Wow! And
that was quite prestigious. And our junior sailors, who have become quite proficient, and some are seen as professionals now, did a great job of representing Delray Yacht Club in the Lipton Cup at the San Diego Yacht Club recently.
Well, that's fantastic. Delray is always well represented. I know that the IOBG past president, Sherry Barone, is a member of Delray Yacht Club, and you've had quite a few awards. I think one of your members got the ASMBYC David Poe Memorial Award. And then I think you had a Junior Sportsman Award.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Harlan Holmes received the David Poe Award. That was bestowed on him. He is very active on our race committee. He is serves as a professional race officer, a PRO. and is very instrumental in participating and contributing to Delray Yacht Club's race program, which has a number of well-known races. The Burger Stein Regatta, which is currently underway. We also do the Friday sundown races on Friday nights in the summer. We have a variety of additional races, and we have an Opti Regatta. We do an upcoming laser regatta. So Delray Yacht Club remains fairly active in the racing programs in Southern California.
And it's an absolutely gorgeous facility. I really enjoy it. And I meet there with the Coast Guard Auxiliary, the volunteer group that assists the Coast Guard in everything from search and rescue to boater safety and vessel exams. We meet at Delray Yacht Club, so I'm there with the Coast Guard Auxiliary, and it's always such an honor. You know, as a youngster, there was little camps. I learned to swim in the Delray Yacht Club pool when they had a diving board there. So that was many years ago. Not anymore, but you can't dive off of a pool anymore, which is sad. But I grew up at that pool, learning how as a wee bit little whippersnapper.
Well, I've done my plenty of swimming in that pool myself as a child and teenager and now as an adult. And yes, I mean the Coast Guard, the U.S. Coast Guard Auxiliary is one of the organizations that we support. Delray Yacht Club, because it is on leased Los Angeles County land, has an obligation to provide community outreach, and the Coast Guard is one of the activities we support, as well as L.A. County Sheriff's Department, which holds meetings at Delray Yacht Club. We also have some important other community activities I'd like to mention, and those include the Santa Monica Bay Sailing Foundation, which is dedicated to youth sailing in Santa Monica Bay. The Mariners Outreach Foundation, it's another organization very actively involved by Delray Yacht Club members to support disadvantaged kids on Catalina Island, and we bring them to the mainland to go on field trips, which otherwise wouldn't have happened because of affordability and the ability to get across to visit the museums, to visit the Museum of Tolerance, to go to JPL, to have experiences on the mainland that kids otherwise would not have on Catalina Island. We also are involved in the Marina del Rey Anglers. Many of our members take disadvantaged kids out to go fishing on a regular basis, and it's quite fulfilling to be recognized as participating in the community activities. And as I say, it is part of our obligation under our lease with Los Angeles County.
Well, it certainly is a very active and iconic club. And I'm just so honored every time I'm there. I was excited this time around. It was exciting to bump into you and meet with you and to get you on the show, but I was so excited when I saw the Coast Guard Auxiliary being the color guard. So that was your color guard this year, and I really enjoyed watching them because some of those are my friends, and they're so they practice on showing the flags, and yeah, it was really nice. It was nice to see that.
Something I wanted to also mention, you alluded to my role as the junior staff commodore.
Yes, let's talk about that.
One of the important roles that I play is our long range, as the chair of our long range planning committee, and that is meant to find ways to sustain Delray Yacht Club into the future. And that leads me to tell you that Delray Yacht Club has a lease with L.A. County that takes us to 2047. So we are well established and well in place for our future plans, and we would like to see that lease extended for an additional 13 years to 2060, which would be the maximum number of years allowed for this kind of lease. But Delray Yacht Club is well positioned for the future. We have slips for members. We are actively encouraging new memberships. We have a variety of programs for both young and old. We're a very dynamic yacht club. We're very open to the future and look forward to thriving going forward.
It's so wonderful to have you on. Well, if you're just joining us now, you're listening to the Boating Hour. I'm Captain Rick. I'm here every Saturday at 4 p.m. And please be sure to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com, where you can listen to our podcasts and link to our many guests. And now also on Instagram and Facebook, the Boating Hour with Captain Rick. And for a healthy gut, the best probiotic that exists, Livia One, natural, organic, and allergen-free. Well, let's talk a little bit about you, Mike. I want to talk about your history and hear a little bit about your exhibitions on the Sea Ventures to the furthest point on the globe.
Well, as we had spoken earlier, I travel. My partner and I, Elizabeth Tigra Sheets, and I travel around the world. And in August, we finally got to go on a long-awaited Arctic expedition. We boarded a small expedition ship in Svalbard. It's an archipelago of islands off the coast of Norway, between Norway and Greenland and Iceland, and it's in the Arctic Ocean. We flew from Oslo to Longyearbyen, which is the main town in Svalbard, and boarded a 400-foot ice-reinforced expedition ship called the Ocean Diamond, and traveled for about 10 days around the archipelago and then up toward the ice cap.
Oh, my.
And we got to about the ice cap, saw all kinds of amazing birds and animals and sea lions and walruses, and of course the premier animal to see are the polar bears.
Did you see any polar bears up there?
So you do see polar bears up there, and the polar bears are quite amazing. They are dangerous. We did go on Zodiacs to shore, and of course they'd always send guides who were armed. They would set up a perimeter, safety perimeter, do some scouting, make sure that there were no bears in the vicinity. You could walk around to about the perimeter of their safety area, but you didn't want to go past them. And they were there to protect passengers like ourselves that would walk around on shore. On Svalbard.
Did you see any polar bear? Is it true that polar bears drink Coca-Cola?
I didn't see any, but it's possible. What we did have an interesting encounter with a polar bear, was the ship came up to to about the far north point on the polar ice cap, and there was a polar bear that we could see off in the distance, and that came toward the ship. We were all aboard the ship, but it came, and it was jumping from iceberg to iceberg, and they're quite agile.
Wow.
And I think the bear could smell the food on the ship. I mean, they have a very sensitive nose, and this bear actually came pretty close to the ship and stood up. I've got some terrific photographs of him. And it was an amazing experience to see this polar bear. They're usually fairly solitary, although we did see a small family of bears with some cubs on shore one day elsewhere, and they were picking through it was either a whale carcass or it could have been a walrus carcass. I'm not sure, but they were feasting on a carcass that was ashore, and they're pretty voracious eaters.
My goodness! Well, I know they can be as much as 10 feet or larger, and 1,000+ pounds.
Absolutely, they're quite big.
You didn't see any penguins with tuxedos?
No, we saw no penguins there because there are no penguins in the Arctic.
Okay, they're in the Antarctic.
They are in the Antarctic, and actually in 2017, one of our other adventures was to go to the Antarctic Peninsula from Ushuaia. Ushuaia is at the bottom of Argentina, and we took the same ship, the Ocean Diamond, through the Drake Passage and Beagle Channel, and then Drake Passage for about two days to the Antarctic Peninsula, where we cruised and explored for about another 5 or 6 days in that part of the world. So an amazing part of the world. Penguins galore. You could walk up to them. They're not afraid of people.
Really?
They have penguin paths. There are people paths and penguin paths. And, when you come to a juncture, you always let the penguins go first. And they'll look at you and stare up at you. And it's almost as if, should I go or are you going to go?
I could go. Boy, I would love to see that. And a continent in itself. Antarctica is a continent.
It is the seventh continent. Yeah, it is.
A lot of people forget that.
It's a pretty amazing place. Again, the sea life, the whales, the seals, the birds, just amazing.
Wow, that's one of my goals. I have never been to the South Pole or to the North. A lot of places I'd like to go. And I talk to people that have been all over the world, and it's just so exciting. Well, I'm going to have you come back on and talk about that trip. It's really amazing to talk to people that are boaters. From the guests that I've had on my show, I've talked about every region of the earth. People have been everywhere. And a couple people. I had a couple guests that got married. They were on their boat, and I've had John Jourdain, who I think he did a seminar at Del Rey, 500,000 miles at sea over his lifetime. He's in his 70s, started at 20. So I have such wonderful guests, and you've been an amazing guest. And I really want to thank you for coming on the show and sharing with me your personal experiences and about Del Rey Yacht Club.
Well, thank you, Captain Rick, for having me. I'd be delighted to come back.
That's amazing. And always share pictures with me and send me press releases. I'll make sure I talk about them on the show.
All right. Very good.
Well, that's all the time we have for you today, and I hope you enjoyed our show and our special guest. As always, we're so very fortunate to have such wonderful and exciting guests. And let's not forget the Coasties. The Coasties, protecting our waters, America's lifesavers and guardians of the sea. And coming up on some future shows, we're going to talk all about the Coast Guard and the Coast Guard Auxiliary. The Armed Service Parade featuring the Coast Guard is coming up May 20th in Torrance, the longest-running, oldest armed service parade in the country, featuring the Coast Guard this year. And the following week, the Battleship Iowa will feature the Navy there at San Pedro, and we're going to talk about that as well. So here at the Boating Hour with Captain Rick, we cover everything that sails, motors, and floats from San Diego to Santa Barbara. Thanks for being with us today, and please be sure to join us next week and every Saturday at 4 p.m. on AM 870. Remember, if you do it right and follow all the safety precautions, there's no place like being out on the water. Well, thanks to our sponsor for our show today for a healthy gut, Livia One Probiotics. Don't forget to visit us on the web at theboatinghour.com and now on Instagram and Facebook, The Boating Hour with Captain Rick. Keep your emails coming. This is Captain Rick saying ahoy and fair winds to all.
Life is uncertain. It's okay to feel stressed, anxious, worried, or frustrated. CalHope can help. Access CalHope's free and secure mental health resources. Call 833-317-4673 or live chat at calhope.org.